Hi, hello, and welcome back to another Skyblock video. My name is Osas, and today we are going to be talking about how to increase your damage in Hypixel Skyblock. Now, there are many ways to increase your damage, and I am going to be talking about all of the ones that I know. If there's anything that I missed out on, please comment in the comment section, and I'll add it to the description. Hey, you. Yes, you over there. If this video helped you in any way and you want to make me happy, I highly recommend subscribing and or liking the video. If you have any questions about the video or any comments, comment them down in the comment section. And if you want to talk to me, you can find me on my Discord, link is in the description. That's all, back to the video. Also, we are going to be talking about non-dungeon setups, so I'm not really going to be caring about things like intelligence for mages. This is like your standard melee situation. Oh, and then one more thing, I am going to be getting a new microphone for probably the next video after this one. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to be talking about is actually talismans. Yeah, because they're really kind of super important. This is probably either the most important or tied for the most important thing when trying to increase your damage. You see those people running around with Midas and Superior dealing like 200k damage per hit? That's largely due to their accessory bag, and not as much from their Midas and Superior. Many players don't realize this at first because it isn't immediately obvious that you can reforge your accessories. Because the quest for the blacksmith, it only reforges your sword. It doesn't tell you what all you can reforge. And while this isn't a detailed talisman guide, I am going to go over the different two main builds for melee outside of dungeons, and then also give you guys access to another more detailed guide about where to get each of the talismans and in what order. So first of all, what talismans should I get and in what order? The short answer is all of them, and from easiest to hardest. The long answer is this excellent video by a guy named 30virus. Yes, you might have heard of him. He's kind of popular. If you want a detailed step-by-step guide for talismans, go here. I should say that it isn't completely updated since it came out a while ago, but it definitely has most of the talismans. How should I reforge them? It depends on what you want. Do you want pure damage? Great for one-tapping zealots at first, in mid-game and early game. Or damage and attack speed, which is pretty much great for literally everything else. Slayers, dungeons, mythological event, the fishing event, all that kind of stuff. So if you're going for pure damage, what you're going to want is hurtful / silky on all of your common to rare talismans. Silky is just a little bit better version of hurtful, and it's a reforged stone instead of just a reforge you can get from normally reforging. And then you're going to want forceful on your epics and strong on your legendaries. I actually don't have mine fully optimized, so I should probably do that at some point. And then for damage and attack speed, you're going to want to do what I just said, except you reforge your uncommons and then epics until you have 100% attack speed. Now, keep in mind that whatever sword you're using, for example, my dungeon sword, that also happens to be my normal sword at the moment, because I don't have any other swords, is the Livid Dagger, and you can see that it has plus 100 attack speed. That means that I can only focus on the damage side of things because the sword takes care of the speed for me. So make sure you check the stats of your sword to get great compatibility between your stats. And don't ask me about recombobulating talismans, because if you can do that, you shouldn't be watching this video. The second thing on this list that I have here is better gear. And this one is pretty self-explanatory. Better gear equals more damage. And there's many options to choose from. But here are some non-dungeons common gear upgrade paths for swords and armor. For armor, the path that I would recommend is Mushroom / Lapis to Ender Armor to Strong or Young Armor, and then if you're going to spend the money to get the super expensive sets, either Superior or a Tux. And while each of these sets have specific bonuses and disadvantages, that is generally the path most people take when getting their non-dungeons armor. And then for your sword, generally most people do Undead Sword or any of the other low damage swords that double the damage if you're fighting a certain enemy, like the Spider Sword and that stuff. And then maybe a Silver Fang. Only some people do that. And then Raider's Axe / AOTE, usually in the order Raider / 2 AOTE if they're getting both. Then an Aspect of the Dragons. And then maybe a Warped AOTE, that's a pretty good new option that works quite well. And then Midas. Midas is, of course, being the endgame item. And a couple of things to keep in mind for this one, well, I'm not talking about Dungeons gear in this video, and Dungeons stats and all that stuff. Dungeons items can outclass normal items in terms of price and damage, especially if you're looking for something in the middle. And a great example of this is my Livid Dagger here. I actually sold my Aspect of the Dragons because the Livid Dagger does more damage outside of dungeons. And one of the reasons I think that is because A, it has that plus 100% crit chance, so I don't have to worry about that. B, it has the plus 100 attack speed, so I don't have to worry about that. I can reforge all my stuff to damage. And then 2, there are miscellaneous gear items that I didn't talk about in those specific paths. Most of them are Slayer items, such as the Power Orbs and Weird Tuba. So those increase your strength, and they can help you do more damage. Next up, Fairy Souls. Fairy Souls are these colorful orbs that are found around Skyblock. They increase your strength, defense, health, and speed. And strength is the main thing that will increase your damage unless you have something special, armor, that makes your defense scale with strength and stuff. Yeah. And if you want to find your Fairy Souls, watch this video by Time Dio. It helped me, well, I mean, not this one, but one of the older ones helped me. But the newest one, it's updated for every single Fairy Soul that's in the game right now. And look for that in the description. Next up, Combat / Foraging level. Now, there are many skills in Skyblock, but the two that mainly increase your damage are Combat and Foraging. Combat will just purely increase your damage to mobs, and then it will also increase your crit chance. So that could help dealing if you don't have full crit chance yet. Each combat level increases your damage to mobs by 4%. That is a lot, especially this first 10 levels. That's already 40% more damage to mobs. By the time you get to the end, you're doing 48% more damage. That's so much. And then if you spend a little bit more time, once you get to combat level 25, that's 100% more damage. So, combat level is super important. Then there's your foraging level, which is a little bit less important, but definitely still need to keep this up and going. I do not have a super high foraging level, but as you can see, it gives you strength for every level that you have, and then it'll scale the more levels you have. So you can see that after foraging level 20, I started getting +2 strength instead of +1. Next up, potions. Potions are temporary, but important. Boost your damage. Here are the potions that increase damage. And I feel like I missed one, but I don't know. So I looked on the wiki, and I think I got them all. So we have the Critical Potion, Spirit Potion, and the Critical Potion and Spirit Potion both give crit damage. The Strength Potion, which, what do you know, it gives strength. And the Archery Potion boosts bow damage specifically. So not any of your real stats, but it increases your bow damage by a lot. And having all of these on at once can significantly boost your damage. So if you are rich enough, I highly recommend heading over to the auction house and getting yourself a God Splash. It's God Potion. You can see that for 275k coins, you can get 24 hours of only when you're online, all the positive effects. The highest tier positive effects. So that's so much better than God Splashes. Like, you should not be getting God Splashes. You should be getting these. They're better. And finally, pets. And when it comes to pets, there are many options. Here are some that are known for increasing damage. There are lots of pets that increase your damage by some small amount and have a different use. That's more of its main use. But these ones are pretty much known for doing damage, even if they're not very good. So it looks like the lowest level Enderman right now, or rarity, is a rare, but it doesn't really matter what rarity it is for the Enderman unless you have a legendary one. The legendary ability is the reason why people would get an Enderman, aside from its top thing. So you can see that crit damage is at the top there as a base stat. And the more you level it up, if we can find one here, level 31, you can see that the crit damage goes up by quite a bit. This pet, when level 100, gives 75 crit damage, which is more than any other pet in the game. However, it does not increase your damage more than any pet in the game. So, it's super cheap, and that's why it's great for early game players. Next up, we have the bee pet. The bee pet is great if you have 30 other people also with bee pets following you around everywhere. The pigman pet, which I'm not even going to look at because I seriously don't recommend it. Just don't get this. I mean, it's known for combat, but don't do it. The tiger pet, and the tiger pet increases your crit damage, crit chance, and strength, which is really good. And then, it also has an ability at uncommon and ability at common and an ability at legendary that are good for doing damage. You have Merciless Swipe, which attacks have a % chance to strike twice, and you have the legendary ability, which makes it so you do more damage to enemies if there's no other enemies nearby. And this pet is probably the best pet in terms of its worth. Of course, the legendary Ender Dragon, yeah, okay, that does a lot of damage. But when it comes to the main player, these 3 different tiers of Tiger, Rare, Epic, and Legendary serve a lot of the combating population in Skyblock. Some other good pets are the Legendary Wither Skeleton, and the reason why this is good is it has all of its stats at the top there, so it gives crit damage and strength, which is good. And then it also has the Death's Touch ability, which is upon hitting an enemy, inflict the Wither effect for % damage over 3 seconds. Then you also have the Griffin pet, it has some pretty good stats in the first place, because it has crit damage and strength, but then it also has legendary Constitution, which is permanent regen 7, which is great, but it doesn't do damage, and strength 8. Strength 8 is crazy good. If you can see right now, I have strength 8 on, and it is giving me 80 strength. That is a lot for a pet. And then the second thing about the Griffin is King of Kings. So it gives you plus 15% strength, not plus 15, plus 15%, when above 85% health. And then finally, there is the Ender Dragon. I don't really think I have to explain this one too much. I don't think anyone watching this video will buy an Ender Dragon, because most of the people that are watching my videos don't know how Skyblock works, so that's why they're watching the video. But you can see its stats. Really, really good. And then the final thing is, if you have a pet, there is a pet item called Antique Remedy. And you get this from the mythological event. I think you dig it up, so it's a rare drop from those. And it increases the pet strength by 80%. And that is all of the ways to increase damage that I can think of. If there's any other small things that I missed out on, feel free to comment, and I will leave them in the description. And with that out of the way, I have nothing more to say. See ya!